Is Jay been in the room? Because I just
he just showed up. I just looked up. He was not there 30 seconds ago.
Hey Jay, how you doing, man? Hey, we were just oh cool. We just we're showing this YouTube. I didn't realize, Jay, but YouTube allows for 360, so you can see that video up above us here, and you can click on or drag across it and move that video back and forth, which I thought was pretty cool. And again, I didn't play the music.
That's all right. Not the end of the world. No, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, like I said, the video itself is not, the production value is not very good. However, you throw a little production value into a video like this and be able to do this. And again, I don't know what kind of camera was used here to create this video, but I don't know if it was a series of GoPros put together or whatever. But
I know Google and YouTube have partnered, right? So I know they're kind of working together. So my guess is that's what it is. That's my guess, but
right. They did do a live stream this morning.
That's what I wanted to do for the last 10 minutes. I got caught doing other things. I was going to do an intro. Damn. Maybe I'll do an outro. Man, I know the importance of Facebook Live, but it is not what has been on my head right now. That is not where my brain has been to get that going live stuff. It's just not. I haven't been there the last couple weeks.
I'm not sold on it yet, dude.
I'm sold on it. I'm just not good at it. I'm not good. And I guess maybe I'm really not sold on it. I'm just trying to tell myself I am because I'm not doing it. I think there's huge value. I'm watching a lot of really good podcasters knocking it out of the park with live.
Yeah, I mean, but are they doing it? They're doing it from their phone? Because are they doing it in a studio?
No, actually, you should. Now, I'll admit this is my little nerdiness of me. I really like Walt Disney World, and I think it's a fun little escape avenue you can do. And there is a guy by the name of Lou Mangello, and he has a podcast called Walt Disney World Radio and WDW Radio, and he has been doing some iteration of live for probably 6 years now. But what he has been doing lately is he does a Facebook Live. So yes, and it's every Wednesday night. And last Wednesday, he literally just walked around Walt Disney World and started talking to people. What he does, he's not just sitting there saying, "Oh, by the way, look at Cinderella's castle." He's telling history. He's telling certain things. He's talking about what events are coming up. He's talking about things while he's experiencing it. And then he's talking to us, right? He's talking to us while we're in there watching them. What he did the last time, which the quality was questionable, but again, no one cares yet. He went to the Haunted Mansion, so he was kind of giving us the real world experience, going through the lines and waiting through that stuff. It was actually he does a good job. He does a very good job.
Nice, man. Well, I CBS this morning news thing or whatever, kind of like the Today Show or whatever. They were broadcasting live 360. It wasn't totally 360. I think it was like, I don't know, 180 degrees or whatever. But you could go on YouTube and watch it live, and you could kind of see behind the scenes, and you could, take your mouse and scroll across the YouTube deal and kind of watch behind the scenes, which I thought was pretty cool. So then I started messing around on YouTube and looking at other videos, and I thought, well, let's see if there's any real estate videos out there like that. And that's where I came upon that video. Thought that was pretty cool.
Did you see? Do you watch much of Chris Smith? He used to be an Inman guy, and now he's kind of his own thing. He's got a book, The Conversion Code. Does really good stuff. Eventually, I really want to see if I can corrupt him to come on here. We're Twitter friends, right? Not real people. I don't know if we could pick each other. I could pick him out because I've seen him a couple times, but I doubt he could pick me out in the lineup. But he just showed this, which is interesting. I'm curious your take on this. I'm even curious Jay's take on this. See if I can copy and paste this. I knew it was coming. I guess I didn't realize it came this fast. Nope, it's not going to be there. Okay, so we'll put it here. You come here, you can register a .homes domain.
Wait, did you try to pin that? You couldn't pin that?
No, I didn't mean to do it. I put it in the wrong spot.
Oh. So I should open it and not pin it?
Oh, you can. I don't care. I didn't mean to do it there. I don't care if you do. I just didn't. That wasn't my intent. My intent was to put it in the chat box.
So now, okay, so this is then a way for, and it's not pinning for some reason. They were just talking about these glitches in Blab. It's kind of maybe there it goes. I don't know. I can't see the pin. So you can what is it? An address domain kind of thing? Is that what it is?
Yep, it's a domain. So what you can do is you can be justinletheby.homes, right? So that instead of being a .com, you're a .homes.
Instead of .com, it's .homes.
Right. So the purpose of this is Homes. The website Homes is trying to build this branding name and building another way to build a product. And Realtor, to be all due candor, was a colossal failure. Not anybody had the same expertise or the same excitement that Realtor.org had about trying to create that domain. And really the reason being is no one cares. Anybody that's trying to really do real estate is not trying to brand .realtor. We're trying to brand .justinletheby, I sell homes, whatever it may be. We're trying to brand our branding, not realtor branding.
Right.
We're proud that we're realtors and we want to be realtors, but no one searches on SEO for realtors. No one does that stuff. It's not how they're going to find you. If they're looking for a realtor, they're going to find you on your name or your business or whatever. So this one's interesting though, and I'm kind of confused. I agree with Chris Smith that this is better than .realtor, but I don't know how much better it is.
So wait a minute here. So how much does it cost? Did you check anything out?
No, I don't think they have pricing yet. I didn't see that when I was looking. I'm trying to look real quick because I really discovered this 10 minutes before. That's why I got caught up doing before we started. So instead of me trying to create a quick little Facebook Live, I was trying to research this. Yeah, see, I've seen something right now that says domains are $200.
Yeah, it is $200. As I did on mine, it's $199.95 for 1 year.
But what I don't know, and they don't explain it to me, is that $199? Is it $200 lifetime, or is it
1 year?
Is it 1 year? See, I didn't see that. Yeah, see, that's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, considering you can go to Realtor or GoDaddy and buy a domain for $10.
Yeah, Google, man. Yeah.
So I don't really care for it. But again, if that would give me that plus a website, okay, we'd be interested. I'd be interested in testing that theory out. I do like the theory though, from an SEO perspective, that you do a lot of homes search. So now you're hopefully getting there a little bit. I do like that thought. I like the fact that they're thinking outside the box a little bit and trying to understand where the people are searching and how they're going to market their business.
Yeah.
But I don't understand who they think that's helping, because really in all due candor, it's helping them. It's not helping me, Justin Letheby, the realtor.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree 100%. How about that real estate photo, dude? How would you like to sell that house? Hey, I think, Jay, that might be in your neck of the woods, man. That might be in Austin. I think you're in Austin, Texas home.
That is awesome.
I'm teasing, of course, but
somebody likes
animals, don't they?
That's awesome. Looks like Houston.
Right? That's after the hurricane, and the hurricane blew all the stuffed animals from the neighbor against the house. I just picked that off of Twitter, by the way.
Awesome. That one's hysterical. You caught me off guard. All of a sudden, I'm popping this up. I see the little blab icon, like we got someone else on the line. And wait a second.
That's a baby in the window. Yeah, exactly.
That's a baby in the window. That's actually kind of creepy.
It is kind of creepy, man. It looks like a creepy Halloween house, doesn't it? Would you like to list that bad boy?
Kind of creepy. I didn't even notice that until you just said that. I'm like, oh, jeez, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on there. All right, man. That's the little funny for the day, I suppose.
We can find more on listings.
Sure. I see those all the time. Not this. I just did a search on Twitter and found this, but I thought it was kind of funny.
So let me ask you this. Oh, someone else joined. So you kind of actually took it away from me. I was going to ask you this. I'm going to let you expound on it. So why aren't you sold on Facebook Live yet?
I'm not sold on it because it's kind of periscopy. In fact, the deal that I had, the conversation that some people were having before about Blab, and it's kind of the guilty by association. I just don't think there's enough good quality content on Facebook Live. to really, and doesn't mean you can't create your own. And I get that argument kind of thing, but it only takes a couple times. For me, I get on there, I see there's a bunch of, teenagers on there. I get turned off immediately. I don't return. That's kind of.
Well, now some of the things they're talking about doing is putting categories out there, right? They're going to actually start organizing this a little bit more in an efficient manner. So kind of like Blab does, we have to create labels and things like that for our conversation.
They need to do that.
Would that change it for you?
Yeah, that would change it, of course, because then I could select the stations that I want to listen to rather than clicking on it and then, okay, this is an idiot. I'm going to click off and then click on another one. Okay, there's another idiot. I'm going to click off. It's just it's not. And then the other thing is I went into a Facebook group and I did a Facebook Live and they're like, hey, this isn't the content that you should be posting here. I'm like, it's a real estate group here, and I'm posting a real estate related deal, and you guys are getting all butthurt because nobody's doing video. And here I do a video on Facebook Live, and you guys are like shooting it down. So I don't know. I'm just not turned on by it too much. Yeah.
How's it going, Jay? How's it going, Jay?
Very good, Justin. Jayson, you guys.
What's up, Jay? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. It's Happy Friday in Austin, Texas today.
Yeah. You got a little bit of a different setup. Did you switch rooms or something?
I did switch rooms.
You bought a new house or something?
Yeah, I got that room got too busy, and I didn't want to clean it up, so I just sold the house out from underneath me.
Oh, there you go.
No, actually, I've changed PCs, and as I'm cleaning my desk off and trying to rearrange the desk, I'm actually on my laptop in the kitchen today. So
nice, man. Nice. Hey, what have you seen that YouTube 360 video? Have you seen that before?
No, I haven't. I mean, you watching that was the first time
That's the first time I saw it today too. And to be able to click on the YouTube video and then scroll 360 degrees, I thought was pretty cool.
That's really cool. I tell you, when you mentioned the 180-degree camera, I saw that. I was on a Blab with John Preto and the Nerd World guys, and when we were looking, we were talking about 4K cameras, and the first 4K camera that came up in the search was actually a 180-degree camera, and essentially, it's like it looks almost like a deck of cards. And it's got like 5 individual cameras, and they're all like fisheye. So it's actually taken in from multiple lenses, giving you 180 degrees, but it's giving you 4K quality. So if you could use the camera like that as you're doing a walkthrough through a house, there's really no reason. I don't need to see behind me.
This morning,
now this is the one that they did this morning, right, on CBS this morning.
Right.
You beat me to it. I was going to show you The Force Awakens.
Okay. All right, cool. So, but you can scroll there. Now, it doesn't go up and down. It's not true 360. It's just like the 180 whatever deal.
And that may be the same camera that they're that the one that I saw. Wait, it looks like you can't go up and down. Okay, yeah. So you can go pretty.
Yeah,
far,
it's probably more than 180 degrees, quite honestly. But
yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. But I thought it was pretty cool, right? And when they announced it, now here's my point: is that CBS this morning is using this technology. I mean, this is the way it's going, and for realtors not to embrace this or at least look into this, I think it's a huge mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's what's going to happen: these video production companies that realtors are hiring for video production. They are probably going to be jumping on this. I mean, it's important for realtors to know. And the reality is this technology is available to the first person. So you definitely don't have to go out and hire a video production team. In fact, that was kind of one of the things that I was promoting here in Austin with several realtors about Periscope. I like the reality of it, the liveness of it. Because there's not a production. They're not setting up a camera. They're not taking a picture in the kitchen that makes it look like 20 people can fit in the kitchen. But when you walk through it on a Periscope, you're like, oh, okay. So 3 people could reasonably work together in this kitchen. But that's about it. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that this technology is out there, and it's important for realtors to know about
Well,
it.
we've seen this transition over the past year too. Like I know at least here in Phoenix, and maybe this has to do a lot with the FAA or whatever. But you saw all these drone videos, right? And they said, "Oh, drone's going to take over," and this and that. And I never jumped on that bandwagon because I just thought they were I just didn't see the value in them. And a lot of people went out and bought these drones, and title companies were getting into the drone video production and all that kind of stuff. And
then FFA law said,
yeah,
stop.
and it all kind of went away, right? But this I really see has a lot of application for what we do.
It's huge. Now don't get me wrong, drone has a lot of value too, but there's a price point and value to, right? If you only have a quarter acre stamped lot, what are you taking a picture of? But if you have a horse property, you better have a drone picture today. No question asked.
I've got a friend who's got a lot here in Austin. It's a 10-acre lot, and it's essentially in a big ravine right on the edge of the lake in a very one of the more affluent areas of town. But because it's so wooded and it's got a big ravine running through it, there are is it 7 acres? Maybe it's 7 acres. And there's only 2 flat pieces of land where you could build homes on it. And it's, right now it's platted for one homestead, but it's too large for that. I mean, it's in the neighborhood it is, the land's worth, golly, $5 or $6 million. And it's hard to take, 7 acres kind of in the middle of town, 7 acres, build what kind of size house you're going to build when you really don't have that much room, flat space. But the drone, they got really good video from the drone, because you could start it. You started at the street. It was actually on a corner, but you started at the driveway, and you rose up, and they went really high, so you could get a picture of the entire lot. And then they came down and they kind of rode along where the road or the driveway would be, and then they pulled up, and so you got a good sense with the drone. But like the lot I live on, it's a third of an acre. Useless. I mean, you don't need a drone for that at all.
No. And I know, Justin, you were mentioning Matterport and stuff like that, and the ability of the consumer to be able to control where they're going, in Matterport or whatever. But the problem with Matterport, you got to email that link out to everybody, right?
Well, they're getting better at that. But yes, I mean, it's not discoverable, but neither is these 360 videos, right? It took you a little bit of time to find that. It's not like it just popped up and said, come watch me.
Promote it either, though. Because you can promote it just like a regular video. And I think, and I didn't try this, but I think if you have it on your phone, I think you just tilt your phone and it goes.
Well, yeah, you'd probably want to buy like one of those Logitech cameras, those little Samsung little pocket cameras that you take around that are actually 360 videos. That's probably what you'd want to buy for this stuff.
Yeah, I think he was talking about reading it though, Justin. If you're watching the video.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. No, that is what neat. You could quite literally be in your house, just kind of circling yourself, looking at everything.
Right. So we know that a lot of the video is consumed on phones, mobile phones, or whatever. So having that 360 on your phone, I don't know. I think that would be pretty good. No, I don't know this company. I don't know how well they are distributing, or distribution is the holy grail kind of thing. But I don't know how good they're doing that. But that was the most recent 360-degree video of real estate that I could find.
Yeah, I've always argued, and I disagree, and I've always disagreed with this. Jorge made this point to us a long time ago that what sucks about Matterport is they host it themselves and no one can find it. That's everything. You guys have a website, you can't find it. You have a YouTube channel, you can't find it. You have Twitter, you can't find it. You got Facebook, you can't find it, right? It's not so much that you have all this stuff and you can't be found. It's okay, now that you have this stuff, how do you promote it so you do get found? Stop worrying about that. It's not a magic button that goes, boom, come find me.
Right.
Nothing exists that way. That's why there are so many people making so much flipping money in social media marketing and in Google Analytics and stuff like that, because that is how people survive and succeed.
I heard a really interesting comment yesterday that anybody that's in marketing, I mean, whether it's social media marketing, just marketers. This guy is head of a marketing company up in Chicago, just general marketing, not just social media, but just a marketing firm. And his comment was that most marketers spend 4 times too much time producing content versus promoting content. And that's the whole deal. I mean, finding that, going and doing that 360 view, that's great. Well, you can't just leave it on YouTube.
Yeah, you
You've
got
got to promote it. It needs to be on your website. It needs to be on your Facebook page. You need to be tweeting it out. It's like, okay, somebody watches this and sees that Justin and Jayson and Jay are talking about 360 views on real estate. So they would be smart to tag us on every 360 they did moving forward, because they know we were talking about it. So they tag us on Facebook, tag us on Twitter. Heck, even find an email address or DM. And
here's
say,
the video,
hey,
man, and it does work on the phone. When you twist it, it moves.
Gotcha.
I know it's hard to see or whatever,
cool.
but it does. It does move as you move your phone on the 360, and that's on YouTube. I mean, dude, can't get much more exposure than YouTube. I mean, I know you got to do some work to get it out there, and you don't need the Google goggles or whatever cardboard to actually do 360 with it.
Well, it's not. It's 360. It's not virtual reality.
Virtual reality. That's coming. Yeah, we've talked about that, right? But I thought it was pretty cool, and I don't know how they filmed it. I'm going to do some research on what kind of cameras and stuff they're using to do that. But I think the realtors that are early adopters of that are going to have going to perfect it pretty quickly, and I think they're going to get some additional exposure that they wouldn't otherwise get.
Yeah, I think you need to stay on. I think definitely need to stay on top of that. I think it's going to, like we were talking, or you were talking before I jumped on, just the quality of the video is going to be somewhat limited. Right now, depending on the type of camera that you use, which was kind of the thought that I had on that 4K, 180 to 180 degree or 270 degree camera. You don't really need to look up. You don't really need to look behind you, but it would be good to look side to side. If I could get, from this side to this side and be able to turn as I'm following the realtor through the house, that would be helpful. But they're also, one thing I was just thinking about it when I was watching that video too, is when you've got that, 180 or 360 view, you've got a fisheye lens. And so the stuff in the straight ahead is really far away from you, and the stuff to the sides is really, really close. So, it messes up your perspective. So you really got to kind of look around quite a bit to understand that the hallway was not 30 feet long. It was only 10 feet long. So there's going to have to be, we're going to have to figure out something along that line to not mislead the consumer.
That's huge, right? I mean, that's huge. Right now in our MLS locally, we actually have to identify if our home is virtually staged or not. And right now that's a hard metric to answer. You take a 360 view and it looks like it's 30-foot hallway and it's only 5 feet because of the camera. Is that virtually staged, or is that just technology?
Right. Yeah.
Does a kitchen look like it's a mile long? Is that because of the camera or because of the technology? And did you virtually stage, and did you mislead the consumer? Well, we didn't obviously intentionally mislead. Mm-hmm. We're trying to show it in the best light we can. But this is becoming an issue in our MLS, at least. It's becoming a very large discussion point.
Well, and not only from a regulation standpoint or a legal standpoint, if consumers are naturally, especially right now with technology, they are very anti-realtor. I mean, half the time you're, as a realtor, you're trying to sell your services because so many people think they can do everything they need to do on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Why do I need a realtor? Why do I need an agent? And so then you're having to sell your services. And then if you also are tying one of your hands by putting out video that may, mislead the consumer. Oh, go ahead, Jake. Then, you're sitting there, messing your own kicking yourself in the butt, messing your own production up.
Well, and that's just it, right? Because what you don't want to do is because this is awesome technology and it's where it's going to be, but you don't want as a real estate agent or as real estate industry have people get turned off by this technology too fast, because you don't want to go, oh, it's not going to show right. It doesn't do right, because consumers will start, as you said, they'll get very critical, have a very critical eye what you're looking at, going, it's not accurate.
Right.
And then I guarantee that will correlate to less showings and less pushes in that area.
Because somebody will say, and they'll look at that and they'll say, golly, that Fred guy, he's all about technology, and I just want to see the house.
Right.
And I got a bad,
It's why I still like Matterport. Matterport has done it right now. Matterport just gives you what they're looking at from a 3D view, and it's an accurate depiction of what you got going on. But you got to be careful with certain technologies, because if it doesn't show well in person, it ain't going to show well in Matterport. And that's going to be the same thing in virtual reality. Now, side topic, since you're an Austin guy, I got to ask this because this affected you Monday. What the hell's going on with Uber?
Uber. I think I'm going to click the X right now. I tell you, for a tech-friendly city, this is one of the least tech-friendly. I mean, it's crazy. Well, I don't know what's going to happen. The city was clearly in drafting the proposition on the ballot. The city was very, very manipulative about what they wanted to happen. The city council wants more control. That's essentially what it is. They are not promoting the market or free enterprise. They definitely wanted more control. The same thing has happened. They've had the same deal with live music.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved here in '99, there was a sound ordinance, but you could play live music downtown outside until 2:00, until the bars closed. Now there's a 10 o'clock deadline.
Well, you guys are getting older over there now, so
That's exactly it. Well, and the funny thing is, they're like, well, we've got all these condos downtown that we built, and these people are complaining about the noise. I'm like,
why the hell did they buy there?
Those people moved to Austin. Yeah, exactly. They moved to Austin because of live music, capital of the world.
Right.
They knew what they were getting. That, in fact, I would say that doesn't only, that doesn't bring their value down. That brings their property value up, because they're right in the middle of all this live music.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where the first time that I saw the city, taking control and not embracing part of the character of the city. But this recent deal on Uber and Lyft, they set the election where it did not coincide with a county or a state or a national election.
Right.
So there was only one thing on the ballot, this one proposition. And I'm gonna go grab the proposition here in just a second. I'll read it to you. It's crazy. But they got all of the old time city folks that they could rely on to come out and vote. And the premise against the proposition was that these big companies were coming in and trying to bully the city of Austin, and trying to take over, take control and kick the taxi cabs out. Well, the reality is, the taxi cabs have been paying and supporting the local politicians for years, and there was more control over the criminal background checks and the fingerprinting prior to this statute or this proposition anyway. So it's a cluster for sure.
Well, the city.
I mean, Uber and Lyft said that they were shutting down and they were leaving, and I don't know if they're going to come back to the table and work with the city or not. Several state representatives have said that they're going to take it up to the legislature, and they're going to handle it at a state level instead of the local level.
It's not bad. It cracked me up. And then, And you guys have done a few of these things. You guys have been a little progressive, Austin has. Now, where do you guys stand? Because I know at one point in time, you guys actually made a board decision from realtors that said we will no longer submit our stuff to Zillow and Trulia through the association, through the board, through the MLS. You guys still do that? It might not be all boards in Austin, but I know there's some of the MLS. That was one of the things getting pushed about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
I remember them talking about that, but I don't know what the current state of that position is and where Zillow's, where they're getting their data. So
the reason I bring that up is that, that's all that, Uber plays with real estate. Cause I don't know if you've experienced this yet or not, but my speculation, you guys are going to start experience, or we're going to start experience, people showing up at houses via Uber.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
For open houses and whatnot.
Well,
right.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about like in Austin, traffic's real bad. I mean, Justin, I don't know where you're located.
Chicago.
Okay, Chicago. Well, see, I mean, Chicago and Phoenix, they both have traffic issues, but there are a lot of highways. I mean, there are a lot of freeways. Phoenix is not limited by space, and Chicago is just, over the years, a number of years being a large city, has had to deal with traffic issues for the last, 150 years. Austin has only had to deal with traffic issues in the last 15, 20 years.
Right. Came in fast and hard.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. And half of the city is backed up into the hill country where it is next to impossible to build roads. So the geography is limiting a lot of the way that roads can be built here. And even, light rail has failed 10 or 12 times, but, if they eventually decide to do light rail, there's some limitations on that as well. But like when we've got the Formula One race, when we've got South by Southwest, Uber and Lyft were off the charts for South by Southwest. And I know a bunch of people,
right.
Just regular people that have regular day jobs that decided to, hey, I'm driving home, or the kids are going out tonight. I've got 3 hours. I'll drive for 3 hours. And, I've got to go home anyway. So I'll pick somebody up from downtown that wants to, leave or head out my direction. And, it truly is a ride sharing deal. I think there were 14,000, drivers between Lyft and Uber in Austin, the last statistic I saw. So, and it's just not full time. It's, and they're right there. You never have to wait for Uber or Lyft more than 5 minutes. So it's been crazy. Hey, let me grab the statute real quick. I'll be right back.
Well, it just plays into, Justin, what we were talking about last week, as far and even this week a little bit about the virtual reality, bringing virtual reality to the realtor's office, and dealing with traffic that way. That way, people can do a virtual tour, literally, in the office of the realtor, and then decide on which house they're going to go out and actually see.
Well, like I said, I was teasing him. I was teasing Jay a little bit, but I think it plays a lot into what you're talking about, and it plays exactly what you're saying. I think when we run into these things, how's it going to change how I sell homes? Because if Austin is so freaking crowded that you can't make it on time, you got to be very specific about what homes you want to look at, because it's going to take effort to see a home. And that's the same thing in Chicago. I don't work Chicago proper. I work the suburbs and out, so I can get around fairly easy. But Chicago agents, I would be all over 360 cameras. I'd be all over virtual reality and saying, look, I'm going to let you experience the homes. After you experience a home, pick me the 2 that you must see now. We'll go look.
Right.
But I don't want to waste your 5 hours of time for 3 homes.
Right. Plus, consumers get upset with that, right? Like, did you not listen to me? I don't want a 2.5 bath. I want a 3 bath kind of deal. And so having virtual reality, as that liaison, if you will, between what the realtor actually hears and what the consumer sees, could be a game changer, I think.
Well, that's why, and that's what kills me about Uber, though. I think that's going to hurt Austin real estate, not dramatically and not directly, but there's going to be an indirect effect to realtors on that business, because it's a major player out there.
It's just the background checks, right? That's really the fight, is over the background checks.
Yeah.
It's about
let me read.
fingerprints.
Let me read this right here. So, the proposition, the premise was they wanted, certain fingerprinting and background checks to be controlled by the city and the city to conduct them, because the city was saying the background checks that Uber and Lyft were doing are insufficient. So this statistic that they put out.
Who's they? Is that the city or is that Uber?
Okay, this is coming from Uber and Lyft. They were showing that 163 drivers applied to Uber and Lyft, and now or previously, they were either taxi drivers and they applied to Uber and Lyft, or they were not drivers at all. They applied to Uber and Lyft and then subsequently got their taxi license from the city. Of the 163, 53 were rejected. So 163 got a license from the city for taxi services, but 53 of those were rejected by Uber and Lyft. And 19 of those were for serious offenses. The serious offenses included DUI, aggravated assault, drug possession, intoxicated assault with a vehicle.
I mean, the audacity of somebody with a vehicle, intoxicated assault, and then applying for a job that requires you to drive. I mean, really, dude?
Well, not only did they apply to Uber, they got rejected by Uber, but the city gave them a license. So they're a taxi. All of those are taxi drivers. So those all got licensed by the city. And so the city's saying, we want you to reject this proposition because we're going to do a better job than Uber and Lyft. Yet 19, this is what they're saying, is 19 of these people got licenses as taxi or chauffeur drivers, but they passed the fingerprinting of the cities. So this is what gets me. Like my son, my 19-year-old went to vote with me, and we talked about the proposition before. And I said, okay, if you're in favor of using Uber and Lyft, you want to vote for the ordinance. If you're against it, you vote against.
Oh, they pulled one of those things where the wording was such a way.
I'm going to read the wording to you. So he then read it, and he turned around in the voting booth and looked at me like, WTF? He was like, what? He goes, I'm glad I remembered that you said for to, vote for Uber and Lyft. So here's the wording. Proposition 1. Shall the city code be amended to repeal city ordinance number blah, 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 relating to transportation network companies, and replace with an ordinance that would repeal and prohibit required fingerprinting, repeal the requirement to identify the vehicle with a distinctive emblem, repeal the prohibition against loading and unloading passengers in a travel lane, and require other companies for transportation network companies.
Was it what? Huh?
I would have asked you, how do I vote again?
Yeah. What is what am I doing here?
So even the newspaper, the Austin American Statesman, which is, a progressive paper in a very liberal city. I mean, we're, a very progressive liberal city. Even they said that the city council using a triple or quadruple negative was misleading the voting public, and that, the knee-jerk reaction psychologically is if you don't understand something, you vote against it. And that's what the city wanted. They wanted this to actually be, voted down. So they word it in such a way that, psychologically you're like, oh my gosh, we should change. We should not vote for this. And it failed dramatically. It was like 55 to 45. I mean, it was pretty sharp. I was surprised.
Yeah, but I wondered the way that question was written, how many people actually thought they said they still wanted Uber around.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering how many people got home, and when they saw that the thing failed and Uber and Lyft were leaving town, they were like, "What? Did I vote the wrong way?"
It's amazing to me, and this, I laugh because there's a couple other people I talk to quite a bit that are Chicago agents that are pretty tech heavy, and we overlook things like that from a real estate perspective, and we just ignore it. It's like, you got to pay attention to what's going on in your area, because this will have an effect on things. The millennials don't drive themselves.
And we have the light rail here, and it was a big deal here in Phoenix for a long time. And it even was it's still a big deal right now. And while they're building the light rail, a lot of businesses, kind of complaining. You'll hear loss of business, and they want to get it done and everything like that. But once it's done, there has been economic, recovery for those businesses, and a lot of people using the light rail.
Oh, I love the light rail in Phoenix. When I managed an office there, we had an office off of North Central, and about halfway between Thomas and Camelback. I don't remember the cross street, but whenever we would go down to a game, we'd go park at the office, or we'd stay at the office or whatever, and catch the rail down to the game. I was like, man, this is the best thing ever. Of course, every time I go to Chicago, I've been there a dozen times, and I've yet to rent a car. I ride the rail.
No, and you get more and more of that, right? When I was growing up, that didn't happen, right? You drove everywhere.
Yeah,
I was a rarity. I hated that stuff. I would take the train all day long because I got so much stuff done, and I didn't have to worry about having my car everywhere. But my friends that lived in the city, everyone, they had to have their car, had to have it. I'm going, dude, you guys are freaking nuts. It's hard enough to get around. Yeah. I'd rather save my $200 a month or $50 or $100, whatever it might be, in insurance, and spend that in taxi cabs and L tickets and things like that than worrying about where am I parking my car today.
Yeah, and Austin is catching up that way. I mean, they've built so many condos. They're still building condos downtown, and I went out and met a friend for dinner on Wednesday night downtown to a restaurant that I'd never heard of before, and it's right next to the new Trader Joe's, which is new in Austin in the last year or so. And it's in walking downtown, you're starting to get more of a a Chicago-like feel because there's residences downtown, whereas Austin has forever been like Phoenix, where come 5:30, there's nobody downtown unless there's a game. There's nobody downtown, and even when there's a game, they're only around the stadium.
I laughed. I visited a friend about 2 years ago. It was in Austin, and they have a softball league, and I went to go out play with them. And it cracked me up. It was only like a 15-mile ride. It took 45 minutes to get from point A to point B because traffic was so hellacious. Mm-hmm. I laughed, and I used to teach there 12 years prior to that, and I could get around no problem anywhere. I mean, I could go around no problem. 35 was my loop. You go around. It was a beautiful day. Now you try to go in. It's like, I'm going, holy cow, is that I mean, you guys have blown up and in good ways, but there's major consequences to that. Some things just weren't planned properly, unfortunately.
Right. Well, and if you can take Uber and Lyft and, share a little bit,
right.
It's been a lot nicer. I mean, people that are, everybody that I know, I don't know anybody this last F1 Formula One race that went out to the track and parked. Everybody took Uber.
Right.
Because the track is like for Phoenix, it'd be like if you were, lived and worked downtown and you were going out to the football stadium in Glendale, or Chicago, it'd be like going out to the airport.
Right.
It's like, why were you going to drive all the way out to the airport and try to park out there? Just get a ride. Right. And that's about how far the track is from downtown. Now it's in a rural area because it hadn't grown up. It's a new track, but everybody. It was all Uber and Lyft. It's like, to me, it was like it's perfect. That's a great business model. Somebody saw a need, they saw a problem, and you're in good cars. They're always nice.
He's back.
You don't have to tip.
Yeah, you froze a little bit.
You're getting too heated. It froze on you.
Well, we get back to you do have to pay attention, and it does matter in the real estate world. You've got to pay attention.
It does, right? And that's what kills me, because you have other technology. You got what what Jayson was showing us earlier with the 360 video, if Uber goes away, then you got to find ways to get this stuff shown virtually, because no one's going to drive around these populated areas for much longer, because they're just not, and they want to live there. They're just not going to drive around. They're only going to do it when they got the homes they want to see.
Well, I'll tell you, I had a really interesting, I had never done this. A fellow mortgage broker friend of mine invited me to a virtual tour, and I was like, what do you mean a virtual tour? Well, he had 25 agents that they met at a restaurant, like in a private room, and they had a projector, and each of the realtors were able to bring 2 properties to the showing, and they just did a virtual showing. They showed a video, they showed photographs, and everybody got a handout, and so all the other realtors there gave feedback. Is it priced right, priced too high, too low, what's the condition, what's the quality, what should we change, how should we present it? They were able to make any kind of comment. Well, the thing that was so cool about it was you can't go and see 50. So there were 25 people. There were 2 properties each. You can't go look at 50 properties. You can't look at 50 properties in a week. But they were able to basically show a virtual tour, do some of the video, for those that had video. Of course, they had a ton of photographs, and they didn't go through all the photographs. But, these were realtors that are working. These are not realtors that are taking the time to go on a party bus and drink and get drunk and see 3 or 4 houses. These are people that, real estate is their business, and they don't have time to gallivant around town. And they're helping each other out. And I was like, the 360 tour, better quality video could be very useful in a situation like that. And you mark off a lot of property a lot faster than you do.
Yeah, well, and I think you make a good point too. That was one of the questions I was going to ask, because we talk so much based on how realtors need to improve their business, but there are so many vendors and supporting parties. They need to understand this as well, because if they're going to provide value to us as a realtor, they need to know what values are going to be valuable to us and help direct us a little bit, because the honest answer is realtors are slow to transition. They're not going to do this stuff unless they're absolutely forced. I've been saying video for 5 years, and I'm finally starting to gain some headway. Oh, really? You think?
Well, we use this term virtual tour or terms.
Yeah, that's horrible term.
So even when you talk to realtors, oh, you're doing a virtual tour. No, it kind of is, but it's a lot more than just
it's a real virtual tour.
Virtual tour. It's not a picture that we focus in on the couch for.
Yeah. It's not a slideshow PowerPoint that zooms in, zooms out, fades right, fades left. We don't do that.
And I think people still have this whole what is it? Not Mad Max, but what was that Pepsi from the 80s kind of virtual reality kind of dude or whatever, Max Headroom or whatever.
Oh, yeah, Mad Men. Or yeah.
I think people get a little virtual
Max
reality. What is that, man? Is it this squared head type dude or something? So it hasn't really hit mainstream yet, but I think it's coming, and it's coming quickly. I mean, if you got the, major news networks starting to do it, and they did a segment on virtual reality too, with it. Stanford University has got a whole program dedicated to it. Now you can even hold these 2 things. I don't know. They look like joysticks or whatever. And then you can actually see your hands, and they're even doing studies on it to where you can change, I'm a Caucasian guy. I could change myself to a black guy and interact with other people and see how they react to me being a black person, and doing behavioral studies with virtual reality. It's crazy what they're doing with virtual reality. It's coming. And I think the real estate space is prime for virtual reality. And then of course you have augmented reality and, some of the other things, but for virtual reality, just to start off, I think it's prime. I really do. And now that I see this on YouTube, it's like crazy, man. Come on. Why wouldn't you do it? Now, the cost of entry, I think, is still pretty expensive. I don't know the cameras that are out there. I know you posted this one here for Samsung or whatever, but that's
the cheapest I know. That's about $500.
It's rapidly coming down. And I think Facebook announced a couple months ago, some of the partnerships they have with a couple camera providers.
They'll drop in price, but that's 2 years out before you're dropping anything substantial that a cheap cheap realtor will buy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean, we're a cheap industry by nature. The only reason we spend any money, either we're a big team and we're knocking out a park, or we get you, Jayson, to buy it for us.
Which is what I'm not thinking about doing that, of course, but there's going to be industries that are going to pop out that are going to be there to support realtors in this space. I mean, I spoke of 2 weeks ago, last week, that one virtual reality company that actually will go to the listing in Los Angeles and then take it to the broker and, have the consumer come into the broker's office and they have the headsets and all that kind of stuff. And they put the branding of the realtor within the virtual reality. And the consumer looks at 3 or 4 houses like you were mentioning, Justin, and they say, okay, this is the one I want to go see. And they go out and see that one instead of traveling around the 4 or 5 different ones when traffic is so bad in LA.
Well, these will always take off faster in two economies, right? They'll take off in the major metropolitan areas that are just too busy to navigate around, and they'll always take off in the high-end homes first. When you see those start taking off, it's actually gained something of reality. So if it takes off in LA, it takes off in Austin, it takes off in Chicago, you're going to see it.
Yeah.
But until then, we're going to be right until they prove us right.
Well, and I think I know there are a lot of title companies here in Phoenix that were offering green screens. Right. I have a green screen. I've done a couple of videos with green screen and creativity, but it's hard too for realtors. No offense here, Justin, but it's hard for them to imagine.
Just say realtors. You really piss them off.
Yeah, there you go. Realtors. So it's hard for them. I always give it like the blue ocean, mentality. If you're on a boat and you have the whole ocean and which direction you're going to sail, and it's hard for them to make a decision unless you tell them you need to go that way, kind of thing. And
the other thing is, mortgage company associations are always trying to provide values for their teams and for their agents. I think green screens are great, but the problem is the world of live video has taken the need for green screen away. People would rather see this. They'd rather see you have a background in there. They like see the picture above Jay's head. They'd rather see things in reality right now than a professional video. Now, don't get me wrong, there are professional videos, but I don't think they want to have this Remax logo, Keller Williams logo shirt standing behind a green screen with all these fancy things flowing behind, because it doesn't feel real to consumers right now. All this live video, whether we think it's a trend or fad or not, one of the things that has taken away is people are very critical over professional creative videos right now, especially from a small business perspective. They don't think it's real. They don't think it's authentic.
So having low lighting and your hair a mess and bad makeup is the way to go?
In most cases, yeah. Now, I mean, if you wanted to create like a 5-second, 15-second little professional video saying boom, boom, boom and trying to get somebody's attention, that'll probably work. But if you're just doing these kind of conversations, or you're doing, even like you're doing a home tour, I would say having it polished right now is the least expense you should be spending right now.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially on the home tour. I think.
But I got to tell you, man, I disagree a little bit because I always get turned off with people shaking the videos or the audio in Spanish.
No. I don't disagree with you there. I mean, I think the thing about it is you want it to be real, but you don't want it to be unprofessional. So you can't have a shaky camera because you'll lose. I mean, there is some production.
Exactly.
You can't be like right here the whole time either. This is going to drive them nuts. So you've got to have, there's got to be some production to it. You've got to be comfortable. But the fact that, you don't have, the green screen stuff is production. And so you've got to, I think, there's a place for that. But if we're having, I think that's why I like Periscope in the home tours. If you can get a good quality recording on Periscope, then I think you've got
you just hit the nail on the head, because most of the two I've only done 2 Periscopes and I got turned off immediately because they were all pixelated. So having good internet connection, it looked good on my camera, right, on my phone, but then when I went and looked at it on Periscope, it's like, well, who would watch this? This is like horrible. So it didn't have I don't want to say interaction, but I couldn't really tell that it was bad video. And my first impression for people coming on board would have said, Jayson, you're an idiot, man. What are you doing here? I'm not going to follow you. You don't even know what the heck you're doing. So I learned a lesson by doing that, right? But I haven't revisited that.
Well, but now here's the thing. That's your eye. And I got a few realtors that are very critical about video, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But most consumers aren't giving a whole lots of rats behind on that stuff, right? Most people don't care when they're listening to iTunes or Pandora if it's not high quality audio.
Yeah, no,
they just want 4K. The music, and they just want it the way they want it when they want it.
Yeah, I'm not saying 4K, but pixelation where you can't see what you're actually trying to show.
Well, no, but again, you got to make sure you're presenting in the format that you're going to be doing, right? If you know that you're going to have a little pixelation, it's got to be more of a talk conversation. It's got to be a bunch of text in front of your screen, right? You can't do those things. So talking and showing one thing, but if you're trying to show something, read this, well, no, then you're going to have higher quality.
Yeah, some of my periscopes, I did some home tours with some realtors of here in Austin, and some of those home tours were so pixelated we could not use them. I mean, we took them down because we were going through. You know, I was on the 30th floor of a condo building downtown, and there was no Wi-Fi available to me, so I was going through the network, and there just wasn't enough 4G at 30 floors up to produce decent video quality. So it would,
and that's where a lot of these
bad.
Verizon, Sprint, whatever, you're starting to see them starting to move their plans toward data usage right now. Because of that, they see live streaming and the amount of data it takes to create a video or whatever that's not pixelated, and they're going to make a killing.
One of my friends that I remember him telling me last November, when was it November or October? Maybe it was October. He consumed 42 gigs of data that month. He had an unlimited data plan. He said, but if I didn't have unlimited data, what is that? A $2,500 phone bill in 1 month? It's just because he was live streaming on his phone.
Yeah, so
all the time.
40 gigs. That's pretty darn near all the time.
At home,
dude, that's
on Wi-Fi.
He's a lonely man.
That's pretty much all the
because
time.
they've actually and that's part of the reason why you get some of that pixelation. Periscope actually does some very interesting compression on it. So that's part of the reason why you get some of that pixelation, because if they're trying to get it to go through the bandwidth they have, they got to do what they can to see
Facebook does the same thing.
They're doing the same thing, but they're doing their compressions are a little bit better than Periscope's right now.
I did a Facebook Live last week or whatever, and it said, and I'm connected here. My router is like 10 feet away, and it was saying, hey, your data or your connection isn't as strong. Your quality may not be as good or something. It had some kind of message on there. And I look back at the video, it may have been 420 or something like that. I had my camera setting at 1080 or 720 or something like that in my camera for my phone. But when I looked at the video, it wasn't, I mean, it was good. It wasn't pixelated. It was like 420 or something like that. So, which that's tolerable. But it gave me a warning. And I know if I was
what it should do, right? So you know what you're doing.
Yeah. So you kind of know what you're doing. But if I had been like out and not on, hooked up to my data here, that would have been a ruined video. And that's where the frustration it comes into play. Now I see other guys and I don't know what they're doing. Like Greg McDaniel, he goes out to homes and he's out, showing properties in San Francisco there, and his videos are fantastic. They look great.
Yeah, but he's going straight mobile. He's going straight out there. He's getting the high end. That's what he's doing.
And same with the guy in San Diego. I forget his name. He has really good quality video too. And I'm thinking, man, I can't get that. That's my problem.
Some of them are.
Yeah. Is he doing it live? Are they live streamed?
Yeah,
he does good stuff, but he's also not afraid to spend the dollars to make it happen. and because he told us 2 weeks ago that he upped his data package because he had to, because he was getting warnings, a week and a half into his month all the time.
Right.
So, and that's part of the thing. And Jason's absolutely right. You're going to, well, actually, I know that there's been beta testing going on with Verizon for about a year and a half where there's actually people that are making phone calls right now. It's all VoIP. Because they are actually trying to go all data now. They're not trying. I mean, it's going to be phone and everything. Everything's going to be a data plan, and you're not going to have a voice plan, so to speak.
Right.
Which is, to be honest with you, I don't really care. It's where it should be anyways, because essentially that's what we're having now anyways. I mean, I talk on Facebook, I talk on Google, I talk through everything. Everything's VoIP. I don't really care.
What are your guys' thoughts on having the smart homes and connected homes and things like that? I did a podcast on that about a year ago, I think it was, on how important not necessarily a smart home, but a well-connected home. Some homes have weak data signal or, Verizon signals or, whatever. And maybe they don't have the fastest, internet. I see a lot of commercials here in Phoenix for the satellite internet deal. There's a lot of rural properties or whatever. How important do you think that is or will be for real estate?
Well, there's apparently a big push in Austin that somebody thinks it's important. The newest large development up in North Austin in North Cedar Park is called Santa Rita Ranch, and I think they've got like 4,000 units in that development. And in their promo, they talk about it being the most well-connected neighborhood in all of Austin. Where they've got fiber to the neighborhood.
That's part of Google Fiber, right?
And so that's part of their.
There's a development. The reason I ask is there's development in Orlando, and I think they have the fastest internet in the country or something like that. And it was a master plan community that they built. They have the jobs within the neighborhood, the hospital, everything right there. And they say that they're the fastest internet provider or have the fastest internet in the whole country. And people love it. I mean, they rave about it. So it's interesting to see builders or developers starting to push that as a selling tool.
It's going to be interesting. I think it's definitely here to play. It's definitely going to affect sales of home. The problem becomes right now, almost all smart technology is essentially transportable, right? So if I move, that technology is coming with me. It's not staying anywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't have that many. I can build the biggest computer or have whatever the fastest computer ever. But if my Wi-Fi isn't capable of handling what I need it to handle, and with virtual reality and how much that's going to take and put a drag on the system, not just maybe in my neighborhood, but if, everybody around me is using it or whatever, it doesn't really matter. You got to have fast internet all the way to the home, not just a fast computer. Right?
Yeah, you're not. Oh.
Yeah,
and that's where it matters more than
handheld.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what they say on their website. We're gigafast with 1 gig of internet speed now available. We want our residents to live a life of ease. That's why homes at Santa Rita Ranch can receive 1 gig of internet speed. Until recently, only large businesses in major metropolitan areas could offer gigabit speed. You won't have to worry about streaming movies, download or upload times, and so much more. It's a new way to do business.
100%. That's exact same thing they kind of sell there in Orlando. And there is a big difference. I know at work where I work, my internet speed here is a lot faster when I get at home, yet I have the same internet provider. I don't know I don't think we pay any more or any less. I don't know. I don't really look at the plan here, but I've always felt that the businesses seem to get better internet than residential.
Yeah, and I think the business plans are more expensive. I think they do pay. I think it charges more. Because I remember, we had to up our plan depending on our data usage with my old firm, we ended up having a lot of data transfer. So we had to end up getting the T1 line, but yeah, so I think they do end up charging you more. But yeah, I mean, having a connected house, I mean, like my home was built in '93, and I've had to put an extender for my Wi-Fi because my router, everything's kind of plugged in at the front of the house, which is not a central point. And I've had to put an extender in the kitchen to extend my Wi-Fi to reach to other areas of the home. Because,
I did the same thing.
We
I got
want
an
the home to
extender.
be connected.
You almost have to right now the way it is.
I've got friends that have the electronic, they can control their door locks on their phones, and they said that they thought it was kind of like a little tricky, like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. They said now that we have it, it's like having electric windows in your car. It's like
peace of mind.
How did you ever live without it? Yeah, very much a peace of mind. Control the air conditioning. You just never think about it. Once you've got it, it's like having automatic transmission in the car. I mean, nobody knows how to, or very few people know how to drive a standard anymore. It's like
everybody's got a standard, man. Now they got Tiptronics, man, so you can go.
How cool is this? That's right. Electric windows and electronic doors. Well,
like with Amazon Echo, right? So, Amazon Echo is. It's becoming very popular. Mm-hmm. Some people say that it's kind of Big Brother listening to you, even though it may not listen to you, or they're afraid it may be listening to your conversations or whatever.
It's always listening. It's always on.
Yeah. So there's some debate going back and forth about that, but that reach of that device, being able to control your lights, being able to control garage doors now, I think all kinds of things that thing can control now. I've got one in my house. I love it, but it doesn't control. I didn't buy the light bulbs or anything like that to control, but that's sucking up some more, internet. It's one of those things, man, where I feel like I need better internet, and my provider really right now isn't doing it. And I don't know if they can, because they don't have the infrastructure to do it. And so does that hurt my house value? Because other people purchasing my home, I would think my next house, I'm going to be checking. I used to check, hey, how many bars do I have on my phone here in the house that I purchased? Now I'm going to be checking how much internet, or how fast the internet is for the home.
Well, I think we are, and I think we're still pushing the live video. We're, as cutting edge as, our children think we are not. We really are, from the standpoint that it's not standard in the industry, but we absolutely have to be aware of it in moving forward, because that's how we're going to differentiate a house. If you've got the same two houses and you've got a house that's well connected, there are a lot of people, especially millennials, these younger buyers, they want to be connected. Like I was talking to my kids just this weekend. I was like, you know what? We never watch cable TV, but I've got cable as part of my data package. I'm like, I may just go ahead and look at just doing internet, spending all of our money on internet. And, if it saves me $10 a month, it's worth it, because neither one of them watch TV. They consume all of their video content is over the internet, whether it's Netflix or Hulu or YouTube or whatever. It's definitely not anything that comes through the cable box. And I've got two DVR boxes that are a waste. Now I heard somebody yesterday was talking about with Facebook Live. I know y'all were talking about it before I got on, but Facebook Live, and now with the Amazon, with Amazon Prime and the videos and the shows and stuff, that it's network TV is being very much threatened by all of the online.
Speaking of Amazon, dude, and I don't mean to interrupt, but Amazon's now going to compete with YouTube. You can now upload videos into Amazon and get paid. I think it's pretty high royalty. I think it's like 45% or something like that. on. Yeah, it's high, man. They're making a
Wow.
serious run at YouTube for you to upload videos, and they can.
Well, and I saw that YouTube just started a messenger service. You know, you could like Facebook Messenger, you've got YouTube Messenger. So essentially, you don't even have to get out of the YouTube app, and you could be messaging. I mean, they're, you know, so Google's trying to compete there. So you've got, you know, Facebook, Amazon, and Google are all competing.
Yeah,
I mean,
your one stop do everything.
And I'm really close too to disconnecting. The only reason I keep, I have DirecTV, and the only reason I keep it is for the NFL stuff. You know, I'm a Formula One guy. You know, the sporting events. Although I'm seeing more and more of those starting to stream live. The only problem with that is that I do like the commentation.
Yeah.
You know, on the live streaming, you don't always get the commentator kind of analysis, and I kind of dig that.
Right.
So, but hey, if it saved me a lot of money and I could get everything as it is happening live, yeah, I certainly would consider ditching the cable, cutting the cord. For sure. And it's not too far away. Like I said, CBS this morning is now starting to, you know, or they did this morning anyway, stream live. Okay, well, if I could watch my morning shows and you know, drink coffee or whatever, you know, it is, and not have to have the cable and have the good quality, hey, I'm all about it. I do.
Right. Yeah, I really think it's the future. I mean, you know, I don't think network television is going anywhere, but it's going to be, you know, they're going to have less and less of the market share. And it's just not going to be as competitive. It's kind of like radio. We still have radio. You know, everybody thought TV was going to put radio out of business.
My local news channels, they all start to Facebook Live. Mm-hmm. When I follow them, they have their little phone propped up right there on the desk, and then during the commercials or whatever, they're like, "Hey, Jason, thanks for visiting," or you know, whatever. They kind of talk to you while you're during the commercial break or whatever. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's an Amazon point over there, broker list, talking about people.
That's a good point. Amazon is becoming an issue for a lot of apartments and businesses like that, because that's a problem. I laugh. Christmas this year, you know how most of my presents came to me? Prepackaged in Amazon box. I would say 75% of my Christmas presents came in an Amazon box.
Yeah, that's what I did with the boys. I ordered almost everything. I mean, they didn't get a lot, but most of what they got was on, you know, in Amazon and Amazon boxes. And I purposely ordered separately so that they would come. You know, I'd order for one boy so that all that stuff would get packaged relatively together, and then the other one I ordered at a different time. Just so
let me ask you guys this, okay? And this is something I've been thinking about. That Amazon, you know, we have a lot of packages stolen here in Phoenix all the time. In fact, there was, I think, just one on the news last night that the person pulled up and they had it on video or whatever. These Ring doorbells and stuff like that, where they, you know, video people and you can see people stealing stuff or whatever. Do you think home builders or, you know, do you think that, I mean, I always thought instead of having the mailbox, like the mailbox is almost non-existent anymore, right? But is there going to be a point where home builders build a like a big, you know, postal thing, a drop box that's built into the house that you didn't slam shut and it like drops on your foyer or whatever? And you know, could Amazon have that kind of impact to where people start building their homes around receiving packages or as an added value?
It very well could be, because I know a lot of people now. I say a lot of people. It's not uncommon. Here, people are having their groceries delivered by like Instacart. That app Grab Me, which is a lot more expensive than Uber and Lyft. But you know, instead of ride sharing or included in ride sharing, you're talking about having people. Well, if I'm going to the grocery store and there's somebody else in my neighborhood.
I was going to say, I think you guys just came up with a great business plan. You could be the secondary warehouse for Amazon, and I'll deliver when you are ready to be delivered.
Amazon, there are companies in New York City and stuff like that will warehouse these packages and then deliver them when you are home. I've seen that. I was thinking like where the UPS or DSL or FedEx or whatever, they have like how you have now with your lock boxes for realtors, and they're kind of your phone or whatever, and you can scan it or whatever, and it opens a lockbox. Well, you could put like a locking device. Not saying it couldn't be hacked or whatever, but it would be tracked that way, right? That somebody scanned it, their ID or something like that came on it. It allowed the UPS person to open the door or whatever, or open the secured metal box or whatever it is, and then they drop the package in there.
It's a good idea.
Now that only works for certain size packages, and you'd have to kind of, but the big packages you probably wouldn't.
Well, that also means that you got to talk with companies like Amazon and some of these other distributors, so you start building a more consistent box profile, right?
Well, I don't know why UPS hasn't done this already. Hey, I mean, here's a service that we can provide to the consumer, because they're really a business to business kind of relationship, really, right? For the most part. So why couldn't they put something together for the consumer saying, okay, we'll throw this monthly fee on there and we'll provide a box for you?
Well, UPS does. UPS store does do that.
Didn't they? I mean, UPS stores, at least the ones I've been around, they've kind of gone out of business.
Really? Because the one out here is thriving.
Is it?
I hope they stay that way, because that's where most of my small business stuff will go.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks,
Broker List, for stopping by.
That's why we got Jay here. He's got good eyes.
Yeah, right. we got narrow vision or tunnel vision going on. So, I think there could be a business model there for that. It's kind of like those vending machines for your pops or whatever, your Cokes, right? You have those little round keys, or those got hacked, right? But hey, having a box that's built into your house or into your garage or something like that. Pause you. We'll hit pause. So I don't know, man. But I do think that a connected home is going to be a home that's going to demand more.
No, I think we're still a few years out before that affecting value, but I do think you're right. The things that you got to start paying attention to, because I think the technology will affect that, right? And you can see Google proving that, because Google is the first place they did it. They built Google Fiber in Kansas City, I think. And that's helped taking that area off. Now they've gone to a couple other areas, but they have been more diligent about it. Like they went to Austin. They picked Austin proper. They didn't pick the surrounding suburbs because they knew it was going to be better business for them. So they're kind of picking and controlling where the best places to live are. I mean, without really directly doing that. I think you are right. You are going to see certain things, but I think it's going to be a long time. Like come out to DeKalb, it's not going to control. It's not going to control homes. It's not going to control prices. It may help them sell faster, but it's not going to control prices. But you go to Austin, you go to Phoenix. Yeah, I think in about 2-3 years, you're going to see that be a player in there. And it's going to be, I don't have XYZ. You don't have a smart lock on your door. I don't want the home. Or I want it added before I come in, things like that.
Right.
I think it will play effect a little bit, but I don't think it won't play immediate effect. But I do think you're right, because it's something you got to be paying attention to now. And if you're an economist or if you're a real estate person, these are some of the things you need to be looking at and studying, because if you're not, you're going to say, but why is this area selling so well? Right. And that's where I laugh, because real estate is technology. I always laugh when everyone says, I don't want to worry about technology, I just want to sell homes.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like I told you a couple of weeks ago, I went to the social media real estate event held here in Phoenix or whatever, and he said one of his things that when people ask him, hey, where do you conduct business, or what's your area of specialty or whatever, and he said planet Earth. That's his response now, because the internet and the things that you need to do as a realtor, your buyers are coming from everywhere across the planet. Potentially.
We should be taking a picture of Jayson saying, we're so exciting, he's talking to someone else.
Jay?
Jayson, I say you. Jay, yeah. Since he's Jay there, I just want to add the son at the end. But yeah, I agree. Again, we talked about it a little bit last time. You can't ignore it, right? You can't ignore the fact that you are advertising everywhere, whether you intend to or not. You are definitely doing that. So you are building a global brand. The only thing that you always got to be careful, and I said it last time as well, is just be careful because your business is still local. You're licensed in one state. Most likely you're really only selling in 2 or 3 county area. You really want to kind of be careful what you're doing with that, but you can't ignore the fact in today's market, in today's society, that when you put something on the internet, everybody and their mother can see it.
Yeah, and Jonathan, so I can talk more about that social media convention. It was held by Tony Giordano, who used to be the loan officer for Madison Hildebrand there in Malibu, California.
Good group.
He's now a realtor, and he has real estate offices throughout. I think he said 2 places. I think Miami, Florida, and in Los Angeles, obviously Malibu. And then he also has one overseas. I can't remember, and I don't want to misquote, but he has another real estate office overseas, but he gets a lot of buyers from overseas. Now, he's in kind of that market, right? Los Angeles, you're going to get a lot of foreign buyers and things like that there, although we get quite a few here in Phoenix as well. But he said, look, the real estate is not so hyper local anymore. If you want to be an all-inclusive agent, it's not just the neighborhood. It is people go down, when you put it on the internet, it's out there and people across the world will find it. Now he made some mentions too, this was more of a realtor kind of convention, teaching realtors how to utilize social media. I thought was very interesting. He said that you got to understand the audience for the platform that you're using. So he said the only true social media platform is Facebook. LinkedIn is more of a professional network. It's not a social media network. Twitter's more of a news feed network. It's not a social media network. And so some of the things that you post on these social media, whatever platforms, the wording on those need to be different. You can't post the same. You can post the same thing, but you may have to change the wording to that specific audience. So it was very enlightening in what he said, and he said realtors need. Now he didn't speak much about video, which I wish he would have. But those speakers sometimes tend to hold things to their heart that they
want to sell.
Think maybe, they don't want to give their secrets all away, right? And the fact of the matter is, most realtors don't even know how to use social media. Mm-hmm. Like he even said, when you do a tweet about an open house, keep it short, simple, sweet, and have a call to action in there.
You just bring up a good question. Not to get off tangent, but because I also got to get done. This would be a good one to kind of end on.
Yeah.
If you were to get a brand new agent today, I don't care the age, I don't care what it is, you pick an agent profile you want to pick, and you were going to teach them today, here's what you need to do right now to be successful in real estate. And I'm not talking about learn your market, because those are what you have to do no matter what. Be on video or be on social media. What would you tell them?
Well, video is kind of social media.
Yeah, I understand, but say pick one. Okay, so let's be more direct. Be on video or be on Facebook? What would you tell them?
I would say video.
I would say Facebook. So Jason says video. I say Facebook. Yeah. Now, here's the reason I say Facebook. I'm an anti-Facebook guy. I've never liked Facebook. But people that are buying houses are on Facebook. So how much?
1.6 billion active users monthly.
Uh-oh, I'm frozen. Oh, there I am.
No, You're good. You're back now.
So that's the thing. I mean, I don't like it, but the market's the market, whether I like it or not. There's so many things that I dislike about Facebook, but the reality is so many people utilize it as their information gathering resource, and they're going to listen to other people talk about homes in Austin or homes in Phoenix or homes in Chicago. What realtor do I use? They're going to listen to to their Facebook friends or acquaintances more than they're going to anywhere else. And so that's if
that's the power of persuasion, right? I mean, Facebook has a stranglehold on that one. So I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But for me, Facebook isn't all inclusive. It's like your friends, and then you're only 7 people away from knowing everybody or something like that, whatever that saying is or whatever. So, and Facebook is big now. It's huge, right? I get that. My thought is I would want to have an online TV show, if you will, or an on 24/7, video on demand, whatever, and creating that and having the call to actions within there. And I know there's YouTube and live streaming and all that kind of stuff out there, but on YouTube in particular, people, on some of my videos, they communicate with me on my videos. They write a comment in there or, whatever. So it's kind of a social kind of deal. And then when they subscribe to my channel, I have a built-in CRM. So anytime I put out a new video, they get an email saying, "Hey, Jayson put out a new video. Check it out." So for that's why I like the video, because a lot more can be said on the videos without it being said than on a post on Facebook. Although, I guess with the video integrated into Facebook, you can't go wrong with that, of course. Yeah.
It's right. Kind of an arbitrary question, either or. Obviously we all believe in video. We're here, we're periscoping, I
think there'll be a time, man, where pictures on Facebook are going to be like non-existent.
Oh, there's not a time. That's coming soon. I bet you before the end of the year, you're going to see that be more specific.
Remember back when, not even that long ago, 2-3 years ago, it was pictures. And then when you could take YouTube videos and put them in there, then it became all these funny videos or all these viral videos and all this kind of stuff. Now we're getting live streaming stuff.
Right.
But I don't see that many pictures anymore, and I really don't see that many links to websites anymore. I see videos, at least on my feed on Facebook. So that's why.
As much as I'd say it, I agree with Jay. I think it's Facebook, and here's why. Because I'm going to cheat my own question. Because I think Facebook's going to go video as well.
Well, yeah.
But I think it makes it interesting because I think video is where you need to excel and grow today. And Jonathan's right. It's neither, because you should be a focused database. But I already caveated that out saying that already matters. I'm excluding that.
I wasn't given that choice.
Right. That was
man.
No, and that's just it. And that's the whole point, because the database is always your business, right? As real estate, we know this. Real estate, if you don't have a database, you got nothing. But if you don't have a database and you're a brand new agent, how are you going to grow that database? And right now, I think the best place to grow it is Facebook. That's the bottom line. I can create audiences. I can create very specific things and advertise them all day long and grow it. Now, there's other ways of growing that stuff hand to hand, right? Door knocking, things like that. There's all sorts of stuff. But when I'm just talking from a technology perspective, what would you teach today? I think I teach Facebook. And I'm with Jay. I use it. I do it as I should from a business perspective. I'm not a real big fan of it. I find it a big, utter distraction that is not necessary in my world. But it's a very needed business avenue, and the way they advertise their money, the way they advertise for you is huge, and I think you could do exponential growth from it.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's where you need to put it. You'd need to put a new realtor, but I would say definitely video is the future. I love the boom email stuff. I love when I get a new Twitter follower, when I can take the time and send them a personalized video back and say, I think Jayson and I did that. When Jayson and I first, a year and a half ago or whatever, a year ago, started following each other, I think we exchanged Twitter videos, acknowledging, welcoming each other, following, good to connect. And it's personal. It rocks somebody's world, when they're mentioned. When
like
you
a handwritten letter, right? It's kind of lost now. That's a lost art kind of thing.
Yeah.
Goodness, my handwriting sucks.
Yeah, I know mine does too, man.
Absolutely.
So having video, man, I think it's very powerful, man. Like I said, there's a lot of messages that get translated in video that you just cannot put into words.
Hey, 80% of communication is nonverbal.
So for that's why I'm now putting Facebook and video together. I mean, that's a home run, right? Facebook just hasn't, in my view, put the video together. And I'm not so critical on video. They just haven't put it together the way I see us being able to utilize it for our business. Yeah.
Agreed. I agree.
So,
okay, fellas, anything you want to kind of end with? I mean, you guys can keep talking, I guess, but I'm checking out because I got crap I got to get done.
Yeah, I've got to go too, Justin. I want to leave with one thing. You guys started this. I'm going to let y'all have the last word, so I'll have the first word. I want to say that I heard something yesterday that I really like, and it made me actually think of Jayson.
Hopefully in a good way.
Must not be good.
And this comment, yeah, no, it definitely in a good way. And this comment, I mean, it's about, because Jayson and I are both in the same, I mean, we do the same thing. We're both lenders. And
I'm outnumbered. Holy crap.
But we both like each other. We're promoting we both like each other, and we both like to promote each other. And it made me think about this yesterday. Oh gosh, what was Andy's last name? I can't remember Andy's last name, but because I'd love to give him credit for this. But he said an ally in creation is an ally in promotion.
That's deep.
So as we're putting together something like this, you know, an ally in creating content, whether it's social media content or any other content, an ally in creating content
100%.
is an ally in promoting content. And so I was just like, you know what? I like that. I really like that. There's so much work to go around. I mean, you know, when I think Chicago, I want to think Justin.
Right.
When I think Arizona, I want to think Jayson. You know, even though I could, you know, funnel loans or people that are moving to Arizona, you know, I could funnel them and handle those. It's like, let me do that. Let me give these to Jayson. You know, if I have 1 or 3 or 7 a year, then, you know, it's a lot easier for him to handle those from me to handle those remotely. And, you know, then we end up
100% agreed
promoting each other.
Yeah. So, and I think that's
an ally in creation is.
I think you bring up a great point there, because I think part of the hesitation for realtors and exploring video and some of the Periscope and, you know, all the other kind of things that we do and we promote. I've told realtors, look, you guys can talk about the exact same thing, the exact same subject matter, but you're going to have 2 different perspectives on it because of your life experiences. And people are going to gravitate to who they gravitate to. You're not going to do something better than somebody else. You're just going to have a different perspective on everything. And that's that. So there's no worry about overlapping material. I hear that all the time too from realtors. Well, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to say it. Right. And that's why I was talking about that blue ocean kind of thing. When you have the creativity of video or some of the social media platforms that allows you to do and say whatever you want to say and say it in a way that you want to say it, that's a little bit of a daunting kind of thing. It can really stifle somebody and kind of freeze them a little bit. It's kind of a deer in headlights kind of deal. So having a partnership, Jay, and promoting, I mean, I ask for that all the time on my podcast. Every time I have a guest on, I send them a copy of it and say, I'd be honored for you to share it with your sphere of influence. And, you know, 2 heads are better than 1, 3 are better than 2 kind of deal. And, you know, kind of goes from there. So I think some realtors think they got to be the only one doing a certain thing before they'll do it.
Coming from a realtor perspective, yes, you only can do one thing. So whoever gets there first, do it. It's more business for me.
Oh, I did that, so I'm not going to do it. Okay. Well, then don't do it, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, it always comes out to, you know, I always love the phrase, I'm glad to have my unequal fair share. You know, you got to push the envelopes. It might not be the right way.
I gotta have a rhyme here, man. You guys are rhyming, and I don't know how to rhyme, dude. We coming up with all these philosophical things. I can't. I don't remember who
actually told me that, but it's not unique. It's not. I did not come up with that. Definitely not. I'm not creative. Cool. What do you got, Jason? What's your final thought? Unless you're going to invite someone else, then we can all just check out and you can be here by yourself.
Well, I will say this. I'm going to this week make it a goal of mine to explore Amazon Video. Talked about video. I like video. I'm going to explore and get that set up. From my initial look at Amazon Video, I think it could be huge. I want to be an early adopter on it because the royalties are pretty good on it.
They got plenty of storage space.
Yeah, they got plenty of storage space. You do have to have a business, and you do have to have I think a tax ID number.
I'm getting that soon.
Yeah. So because of the royalties and stuff that they're paying. So I don't know that everybody's going to adopt it as far as a production side of things, but I think there'll be a lot of consumers consuming it. So for that reason, I'm going to be getting on Amazon Video.
It's going to be interesting. I didn't hear that. That's going to be an interesting philosophy. Cool. My thing is, I would tell everybody right now, get good with Facebook Live because that one's not going away. Period. No matter how much Jayson doesn't understand it yet.
Hey guys, thanks for letting me jump in. I enjoy it. Always enjoy you guys. Enjoy being a part of any of the conversations. It's good to see y'all on a Friday afternoon, and we will.
Thanks, Jay.
We'll be seeing y'all soon.
Cool.
Hey, they were having things on Blab too. And I don't know if you can pause recording or whatever.